during the vows. It was a great ceremony. We're very grateful that we actually were blessed with good weather today. I'm Dick Evans, as he said. I'm father of the bride, and I'm glad you can make it to share this occasion with us. And we'll say a little prayer for the family and friends from North Carolina, that everyone and everything's safe when you return home to North Carolina. Appreciate you coming. Many people came actually a few days early. And so thank you for being here. A couple things that I want to say before I actually get to John and Sally. Very first person I want to recognize is my wife, Mary Lou. It's a universal truth. Guys are clueless as far as wedding planning is concerned, and she worked her rear end off, countless emails, in-person visits, just spent a ton of time on it. And I'll have to say, from the male point of view, it's always interesting to hear Mary Lou and Sweet Sally debate or negotiate wedding things. Special shout out, the minister said this earlier, special shout out to Joseph, John's best man, and his wife Amelie. They traveled all the way from Berlin, Germany, so they get the award for the longest travel. Amelie actually is going to sing a couple songs for us with her miniature guitar, her little guitar. So we look forward to hearing you, and thank you for doing that. A lot of you know that our Kentucky roots run deep, and we're fortunate to have a lot of people here tonight from the Commonwealth, and many that attended or they work at the University of Kentucky. And they're dear, dear people. They're among my best friends in life. And it means so much to Sally and John that you're able to make it, particularly all those folks that Sally works with at the Now that's a good shout. That was better than actually the ceremony. You know, Sally, in her very first real person job, was so lucky to find her job at the University of Kentucky College of Nursing. The people are just caring, nurturing people that she gets to work with on a daily basis. So thank you all for watching out for our kid, and particularly you, Karen. It means a lot to her to work in that department, and you guys make it so wonderful. And I will say, while there are a lot of UK people here, I have to say, unfortunately, there's a Louisville fan in the house tonight. And sadly, it happens to be John's dad, Paul. Where is he? Okay, yeah, there he is. Paul, unfortunately, is a Louisville fan, and you'll notice that sorry, Paul. There's a lot of separation between the UK people in the back and Paul up front. He did that intentionally. Of course, at a wedding like this, we're missing out on quite a few loved ones, parents and grandparents that have passed. But we know they're here in spirit. But we're so lucky to have with us tonight one very, very special grandparent, Amanda Woodson, John's granny, who is a youthful and robust 93 years of age. Did a great job with 1 Corinthians 13, Amanda. Thank you very much for doing that. One final quick announcement. Sally, of course, is over the moon that she's Mrs. Woodson, but there may be one thing that she's equally excited about, and that is in February of 2019, she's going to be Aunt Sally, because her sister Abby is going to congratulations to Abby and Nick. Just, that's right, Aunt Sally. Okay, John. It's been really great getting to know John over all the years. What's interesting when you're a father, they started dating as sophomores, I think, at high school, and never in a million years would you think, this is the guy she's going to marry, right? But, you know, they're 15 years old, and he shows up, and it's not like we're mean to him or anything, but it's like, yeah, she's going to have a couple dates, at least 10 more dates after that, and she's going to go off to college. And it ended up being the lasting love of her life, John. And that's amazing. And we're so grateful that it was. Mary Lou and I've grown to love you just like Sally has. So what can I tell you about John? Well, first, Sally says this all the time. John's handsome. It's like, oh my God. I don't buy that necessarily. But actually, the thing that I can say is John's tall. And we've been trying to get height in the Evans family for a long time. So I think 5'10" is a monster. So we're excited, at least as far as John's height. So, positive check mark for John on appearance. He's very deliberate in his decision making. He thinks things out very carefully. Sometimes it takes him as long as 9 years to make a decision. But when he does, it's always the right decision. We share, I thought about this earlier, we share the same core values. So that's pretty strong. And how do I know that? Well, I love Christmas. Everything about Christmas. I love Christmas. But the one thing that turns me into a Scrooge faster than anything else is when I open the Christmas card and 1.5 pounds of glitter falls out in my lap. It's on the house for the rest of the year. And Sally confided in me one day that John doesn't like glitter either. I said, that's the core values I'm looking for. So positive check mark for John on that. So far it's all positive. Music, as some people know, is a big part of our lives. And somewhat surprisingly, we found out that John had never seen the movie The Sound of Music. And it's like, how shocking is that? And of course, I blame that on Paul and Morton. Right. Joseph, have you seen it? Okay, all right. There you go, John. So, I actually, a very quick requirement, I said, John, nobody marries my daughter without seeing The Sound of Music. So on September 1st of this year, Sally and John and Abby and Nick and Mary Lou and I sat in our family room and watched The Sound of Music. And of course, it was kind of intense pressure because I turned around and once in a while I said, John, do you like it? He goes, yes, I do. So I don't really know if he did, but John, your wedding gift is a commemorative edition of The Sound of Music with our official approval on the back to marry my daughter. Congratulations, John. That's a big job. Okay, this will come as a surprise to a lot of people. John's quiet. Right? I was actually listening tonight, believe him to hear him say the words I do. I will tell you, some time ago, I arranged an interview for him at Fifth Third Bank here in Cincinnati, and I called the HR guy pretty soon after the interview. I said, how do you do? And I said to Reese, I know he's quiet, he's a great guy, he's kind of quiet. And this HR guy from Fifth Third Bank said, John was quiet, but he cautioned me, don't interpret that as a sign of weakness. John, he noted, and this is his words, was a very strong individual, well-spoken and poised, and would represent Fifth Third in a very professional manner. And I was so proud. And he didn't take that job at Fifth Third. Instead, he decided to stay in Lexington with Sally. And he's got a great job with a promising future at Lockheed Martin in Lexington. But he can't tell you about it. It's super secret. Am I in trouble? Okay. So, so positive check marks down the line, in every respect. But, I sat here and I kind of thought to myself, when you're a dad and you're giving your daughter away, the only thing that you really want and need to know is, are you going to treat my daughter with love and respect and kindness all the days of her life? And the answer, I know what the answer is, it's a resounding yes. So John, welcome to our family, and we look forward to being part of your family too. All right. So, now I'm done with him. This is my only chance in life to talk about my daughter, Sally. I have to say before I go into what can I tell you about Sally Ann. Going back years, and I don't even know how this started, I always called her son. It was a son I wanted to have, and it usually was in the context of, son, if you do that, you're history. Don't you do that, son, or I'll murder you. And I just called her son, and then every once in a while she would respond and say, your loving son. And I have to say, in the presence of everybody, you're the most beautiful bride/son I've ever had in my life. So, I've got a few little things I'll tell you about Sally. The relationship between a daughter and a dad is very special. And I think ours is even more special. And I can think of one particular moment in our lives that demonstrates that so well. We were out driving one day in a ubiquitous minivan, and I got philosophical, and I said, you know, Sally, Abby, they were in the back seat, and I said, you know, someday Mom and Dad are going to get old, and we're going to get feeble. It's just part of the natural process. And I said, each of you is going to have to probably pick a parent and help them. And I hadn't gotten those words out of my mouth, and Sally screamed out, I picked Mom! So how's that for a special relationship? And I was actually going to ask you, so that was a long time ago. So if you had to pick today, Mom? Abby, I'm sorry. Sally, what else can I tell you about Sally? Well, Sally, I've always thought she is a world-class imp. She has that spunk and spirit, and I will also tell you that one of her more impish moments actually occurred in another minivan. We were on vacation, we had flown into Orlando, we were going to Mickey Mouse World, Disney World, and I got in the minivan, and they got in the back seat, and we're all excited to head to the Magic Kingdom, and I said, all right, girls, here's what we're going to do on this vacation. I said, we're going to have a great time, we'll spend the whole week there, but the one girl that is actually the best kid through the whole week gets $20. And Sally screams out, Abby can have it. Now what's so remarkable is there wasn't any thinking around that. She just yells out, Abby can have it. And I was like, that's Sally? So even though she's a world-class imp, she's also the most caring and sensitive person I've ever known. She aches when others are hurting, and she feels so deeply for others who are not nearly as fortunate in this life as she is. And I have to say, who else at the age of 16 years of age would fly to travel to Gulu, Uganda to help impoverished African children at their school and in their homes as part of the Unified for UNIFAT program? And it's funny because as proud as I am of Sally for doing that, you know who else does it? The people at, where's table 12? Woo! You know, most of those people sitting at those tables went to Uganda with Sally. And they're the most wonderful people you will ever meet in their life, led by the director, Connie, who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. But they're Sally's extraordinary brothers and sisters. And it just kind of, and they continue to support that school to this day. And that will always be a big part of her life. And it tells you so much about what she is as a person that she would do that. At age 16, going to Africa. Wow. Well, we knew at an early age that Sally would be a caring individual. We just knew it. She was like that. She's been like that her whole life. And I wanted just to show you that, how Mary Lou and I knew. I want to read you a poem that she wrote in the 3rd grade. And let's see if you agree that she's one of the most caring people ever. And she called it the Titanic tragedy. Listen closely. In the year of 1912, the Titanic went boom. It crashed into an iceberg. Everyone was doomed. After a while, people started crying. Finally, the boat had split. This was a very sad moment in life, one that no one will ever forget. Later that day, the boat was gone. It went down under the sea. I feel bad for all those people. I'm glad it wasn't me. your daughter brings this poem home in the 3rd grade, you don't even know what to say. And I think this is probably more indicative of her interest side than her caring side, but I just had to read that. John, don't ever go with her. So as I think of them as a couple, a partnership for life, I think of the many qualities and characteristics of a loving and happy marriage. And I keep coming back to one. And the one word that I keep thinking about is gratitude. Gratitude for each other. Be grateful for each other and know how lucky you are to have found such a wonderful partner to spend your life with. Gratitude for your family and friends. Because if you look around the room, the wonderful people sitting here, everybody in this room played a huge role in getting you to this day. And there's not a person in this room that if you need help in the future wouldn't step in and help you. So always be grateful for your family and friends. And then finally, gratitude for our Lord. He will watch over you. He makes all this possible. Raise a glass to Sally and John for a long, healthy, and prosperous marriage and plenty of kids. Here, here.